My recent trip to Epic HQ has put me in a fantastic mindset. I am very inspired. I am very dedicated, very rejuvenated in terms of my attitude towards Paragon and just my dedication to what I do here on the channel. In that light, I have definitely a message for the community as I start to think of how I need to improve and look at what I do here in Paragon, as I think I have some pretty good things to say for the community. So, ladies and gentlemen, here is just a gameplay of me testing out Shinbi against some bots with my wife. So please keep in mind it is indeed my, me playing with my wife, as my ELO would completely destroy her. So anyways, guys, we're talking about a constructive mindset for the community. We need a better way to look at Paragon, to look at what Epic Games is doing, and here is kind of some rationale for it and what exactly that is. Guys, the current mindset of very vocal minority within the community, and I'm saying minority there as proven by the recent published numbers from Epic in terms of how many people are playing Monolith now, the average game time, average surrender stuff. Anyways, in a way, all this voice from this vocal minority can be summarized basically by consumerism. Really, I want this Epic Games. I think towers should. This should be like this, and it's just consuming. It's just consuming. This content that Epic Games is, creating or not creating, in their opinions. Guys, the first issue with this is the growing societal hunger for change, for new things, for different things. This video game is one video game, right? Focused on providing a product, not multiple products doing multiple things. There has to be priorities, philosophies, kind of hard decisions to be made, right? Heroes of the Storm, the very first MOBA I started on, chose to not have economy. They chose not to have, money, and instead it's all about hero experience. That's just their choice. It's just how it is. It's not good. It's not bad. It's just that's what it is. And, Epic Games and Paragon has to make those hard choices when it comes to various things within Paragon as well. So we have to keep that in mind, that they have to have a focus for Paragon, and they have to stick to that. Another issue with this is that the industry, or the video game industry, or any parent, guardian, leader, person in a position of power or responsibility knows that there's always something more afterwards. If you give in to that kind of thing, you will realize that there's always more after that. Oftentimes it's not nice. It's not nice for a while. You give that, or you try to accommodate those things, and then it just ends up not being nice. Or that just gets stale, or whatever was changed or given in ends up being not what's expected. Usually, it ends up being not overly great. And it is really interesting to see how that usually happens, right? So there is that. Lastly, it's just not a sustainable mindset. It's not. At some point, change won't be enough. If you continually change things, or and not just update, but I mean like change things, at some point it's not enough. Instead, finding enjoyment out of things as they are is enjoyment in itself. It is. It ends up being enjoyment in itself, being happy with what we have and finding that enjoyment that can turn into happiness in itself. kind of a little bit hard to explain, but it is true. Now, this does not mean that dogmatic thinking wins. That, you know, complacency and just this is how it is and that's just it. That necessarily wins. It's actually quite the opposite. It's quite the opposite, and we'll get into that later. Now, we'll move on to the next point here. Not only would we find extra enjoyment from, you know, not expending energy wishing or fighting for change, we start to appreciate what is. And that's huge. Imagine if you could just appreciate what is and not have to complain and not have to whatever, right? That's certainly nice. Ask yourself, right now, ask yourself, what do I enjoy from what already exists? There must be things here that exists that you can find happiness from. Well, find it. Utilize that happiness. Do it. Why wouldn't you, right? Why wouldn't you? Why would you choose to be, you know, upset and frustrated, right? And then ask yourself, why do you enjoy that? Why do you enjoy that? Isn't that special in itself and worth celebrating? I think it is. I really think it is. Find what you enjoy and celebrate that you enjoy it. Enjoy it. And live in the moment of knowing that you enjoy something. Now, this brings us, by doing this brings us understanding of the world around us and connects and engages us with our own fulfillment. We understand kind of all of a sudden what is around us and what kind of makes us happy. And that's really powerful, because that's unfortunately, I think, a big issue in modern society, and I am absolutely to blame for this as well. Simply not enjoying what is. Not enjoying in our own enjoyment. Engaging in our own enjoyment and acknowledging the fact that we actually enjoy something, and that we take the proper amount of energy to warrant the fact that we are doing something enjoyable. While that might sound funny, it's called taking for granted. And you know, I think that is a large part of happiness, and it's that sense of entitlement, sense of just the opposite of whatever I was saying just before. My goodness, I think that's a big thing. Now, this will lead us, all of this, once we start just finding enjoyment in what we do and asking why do we enjoy this and celebrating that, this actually leads us on another enjoyable journey of discovery in itself. Now that you kind of know that you're happy, usually this raises awareness for what eludes our understanding. Usually that brings us to the point where we go, hey, this I don't necessarily enjoy, and usually we already understand that, but usually that brings us to the understanding of why don't I enjoy that? Like, what is that? What about it don't I enjoy? Instead of just, I just don't like it. Usually that brings us to the point where we go, I wonder why. Like, what about this? What about this? And obviously that's very important as well. This makes us question our perspective and concept of the world around us. So now we start questioning things like, well, what exactly about it? And like, what don't I understand? What don't I understand? What is this whole thing? And it's actually really quite an interesting process in itself in that. Now, these questions, the fact that we're kind of questioning reality and questioning our understanding of things and our interpretation of things, it doesn't actually discourages us. It instead energizes us, because if questions exist now about the current state of our reality, of the game Paragon, then they also used to exist about things that we already understand today. So this means that we've grown and developed before, that we are on this continuum of understanding and learning that will forever continue. And that's exciting. This, therefore, can always happen, right? This means that no matter our understanding of something, there will always be something that we question, that we seek to understand, that is different and just out there for us to explore. And that is very, very, very exciting. Now, hopefully this isn't too here I totally forgot that the rampage was there, but whatever. Now the journey starts. Now the journey starts, and this is the most exciting part of this whole thing. Now, at this point, we can start the learning process. At this point, now that we're asking the questions, now that we realize that there are questions out there for us to ask about, and the fact that we don't even know it, this is where the real journey starts. We can grow, we can develop, we can test things, we can succeed in things, we can, more importantly, fail at things, and we can experiment. That is good. That is what we want. We don't want to be in a world where there is no success, there is no development, we're just a stale experience of just nothing in the sense where nothing is exciting, nothing is new, right? This is where enjoyment from the experience thrives. We can experience things, we can experience new things in the sense that we're discovering understanding, we're discovering perspective, and that is enjoyable. Now, I'm going to be posting a video about this process here, about the learning process and how to best go around that, and what is proven to be the most successful, and what all of that kind of stuff, the learning process. Go and check that out. I'm going to be doing an updated video very shortly here. Look out for that. Subscribe if you want that, because that is very, very important. This learning process is really, really important. Now the next big part. What this ultimately does is help us understand the mechanics and design of the game. Now we're going to apply this to Paragon specifically. We're going to, like, so what, Sylphin? You've been talking big words and big concepts, blah, 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 but what about Paragon? How does this actually affect anything here in Paragon? Well, this helps us by understanding the mechanics and design of the game. So, the phenomenon of Chimera being more successful, as you can just check his win rates, in some ELO brackets versus others, is a testament of how people's understanding affect how the game functions. Depending on your level of understanding, how you have, learned to look at the world around you and understand the world around you, it affects how this game operates, right? It affects how any system of processes works. That is a human construct based on human performances, like Paragon is. Now, this phenomenon applies to all aspects of the game. All aspects. It's not limited to Chimera. It applies to all aspects of this game. Every aspect of Paragon is influenced by your understanding and your choices. The performance of towers, completely dependent on your understanding of them and how they work. Something that a new player is going to do that's brand new to Paragon, walk right under the tower and get taken out. They probably think towers are completely overpowered, right? That is the exact same thing that happens with Chimera. It's just on a different level. Crowd control, right? Crowd control. That is the same thing. You're depending on your understanding of crowd control. It affects how this game functions and how your games go. If you're not careful of crowd control versus if you're very much aware and take precautions of crowd control. Team fight frequency and effectiveness, depending on your understanding of it, you can be an excellent split pusher, or to be totally ineffective in team fights and not even be there for your team when you're needed, stuff like that, etc. You get the point. All of these things are affected by your understanding. by your understanding, by your perspective, by your ability to question how things function, question how things work, and what, more importantly, what you do in regards to those things. So if we start to instead question our understanding of how things work in-game, only then can we start to learn and perform better at whatever we do. Only then can we perform better at what we do. Essentially, guys, it is possible to take enjoyment from changing our mindset from this is broken and needs fixing to what can I learn about this and change myself? What can I learn about this and change myself? There is enjoyment from changing our mindsets between those two. This is a positive outlook that breeds only satisfaction. Breeds only satisfaction. The process of trying to learn and understand about something is rewarding. Not might necessarily be satisfying all the times, but it is rewarding. And it brings some deep level of satisfaction that might elude you, kind of, you know, something, right? I hope you kind of understand what I mean there. And another point here is that it leads to a more engaging and rewarding social community. What do you think is a more enjoyable community to be in? One that is constantly saying this is broken and needs fixing, or a community that says, hey, have you learned anything about these that I don't know? Because I don't really understand how I'm supposed to go about dealing with this. Or, hey, can you tell me what you know about this? Can we have a discussion about how this works? What do you think is a better community to be a part of? Right? What this also does, guys, makes the development process of yourself, developing yourself, and also the development process of this game way more informed, much more effective, beneficial, and enjoyable via all of the constructive input and perspectives that the developers can get, that you can get from other people, and it just absolutely helps. And that's that. That's that, guys. That is the constructive outlook that I think that the community needs to adopt a little bit more, and try to just get a better sense, right? Get a better sense of how this game works, of the issues that are part of it, and just kind of be a better community that learns easier, and more importantly, just enjoys the process. I think that's a really big part of it. As a teacher, the learning process is an absolute joy. It should be. Learning about things should be absolutely an enjoyable process, brings satisfaction, and is rewarding to us at all levels. So there you guys go. What do you guys think about this whole mindset that I'm proposing? Do you agree with me? How do you go about spreading this to the community? How do you go about trying to make this a better place? Let me know down in the comments. Do you agree with me? What do you think? Please, ladies and gentlemen, I pause this. Please like this video if you like it, dislike it if you dislike it, share it with the community, and of course, guys, subscribe. If you guys like this content, especially if you found it useful, please subscribe so I can do it for you in the future. Till next time, like always, stay optimistic and positive.